Security Kansas Senator Roger Marshall. Senator, good to see you. Thank you for being here. Some of what we heard today seems to conflict, particularly the reports from local police officers who were on the scene, with what we heard from acting Secret Service Director Rowe. I just want to play a clip of what Rowe said at a press conference last week, and then what we heard today from a local Butler police official. Roll it.
There was a lack of clarity that roof should be secure, period, full stop.
There was discussion about how the roof was going to be secured, and I think what it came back to is we should have challenged how that mechanism was being implemented, meaning we should have been more direct.
At no point during the planning process was Butler ESU asked to deploy a sniper team to the roof of the AGR complex, and at no point in our operations plan did we ever say that we would deploy a sniper team to the roof of the AGR complex.
Senator, there seems to be a conflict there about the way things were seen by the director and by this local official. What do you think?
Well, here we are. It's over 2 months now, David, I believe, and there's been no personal responsibility taken on the part of the Secret Service. This is clear demonstration of a lack of leadership, a broken chain of command, multiple failures on multiple levels. They had a poor plan. It was implemented even worse, and the communication was in silos, and this communication continues to be in silos. Without any doubt, the Secret Service failed us that day. That's what all these hearings, these testimony just confirms what I thought immediately after. We need a crisis intervention team to step in and take over the Secret Service. We need someone like a Mike Pompeo to step in there, turn that place upside down. They lost over half of their agents in a year's time. There's something wrong in the Secret Service. It's a cultural rot. Someone needs to go in there and start over.
Well, in fairness to Director Rowe, he did say that Butler was a failure. I mean, how could it not be? Because a good man was killed. The president himself was injured, was wounded by a bullet. I mean, obviously it was a failure. However, there's so many conflicts with Rowe, and of course he's attached to the previous leadership. Should he resign?
Look, he needs to be replaced. This is why we need a leader in the White House that can make a decision, and when something's broken, fix it. When someone's done a horrible job, to fire him. I'm just telling you that the culture there is horrible. In my experience in the real world, when there's a situation like this, you fire all the management and you have to start over. I think that there's a problem where the Secret Service is. I think that their mission and the DHS doesn't mesh, and of course we have a Secretary of DHS which is incompetent as well. So multiple problems at multiple levels. It starts in the White House, it goes to your secretary, and here we have the director of the Secret Service just struggling as well. So they all need to go. We need to start over.
You know, Senator, there's a big question also about how Secret Service agents should be deployed and whether they are being spread to areas where perhaps they're not as needed. We were interested in seeing how many Secret Service agents were deployed for the Iranian president. Former President Trump had words to say about that. I want to play that and get your reaction. Roll it.
Right.
Meanwhile, we have the president of Iran in our country this week. We have large security forces guarding him, and yet they're threatening our former president and the leading candidate to become the next president of the United States. Certainly a strange set of circumstances. Around the world, our enemies are desperate to prevent Donald Trump from returning to the White House because they know I will make America great again. They don't want that.
It does seem a little absurd, doesn't it, Senator, that we gave so much attention to the president of Iran and we've had 2 assassination attempts against Donald Trump?
I can't believe we allow any leader from Iran into this country. This is a country that has promised death to America. These are very serious threats on President Trump's life. I want to go back to the day of President Trump's the attempted assassination attempt on him, when Jill Biden had more assets than President Trump did. For a crowd of 400 people versus 15,000 people, she had more assets. So only in America does this happen. I'm concerned. Why did the Justice Department release the $150,000 bounty on President Trump? Is that more lawfare? Look, it just doesn't make sense. The White House piling up, working to do everything they can to harm President Trump.
Senator Roger Marshall, good to see you, Senator.